Part 2 of the Seweweeks Poort video series starts at the Aristata Seweweeks Poort guest farm at the 7.7 kilometer mark and ends 10 kilometers later at the crossing of the final bridge towards the southern end of the poort. If you intend driving through this poort, it's important to watch Part 1 first, which contains the Google Earth orientation clips as well as other important safety and tourism information. The beautiful and unique Aristata protea was rediscovered in the poort in the 1950s after it was believed to have been extinct for some time. Other protea species found in the poort are convexa, eximia, nitida and sulfurea. Bird and mammal life is also plentiful, and the patient observer will be rewarded with sightings of Cape pheasant, stork, Egyptian goose, owl, black and fish eagles, and many more smaller varieties. Leopards still roam these mountains, but are rarely seen. The main peak on the western side of the poort is known as the Seweweeks Poort Peak and has an altitude of 2,325 meters, which is more than 90 meters higher than Matroosberg at 2,231 near Ceres. Many sources incorrectly list Matroosberg as being the highest peak in the Western Cape. Going back to the mid-1800s into the history of the poort, locals on both sides of the Swartberg Range had been agitating for some time for the construction of a road through the mountain range since 1845. John Montague, the colonial secretary, visited the area in 1849, and after various investigations it was decided to build the road through Meyringspoort and later a second access road through the Seweweeks Poort. Meyringspoort was completed in 1858, after which attention was given to Seweweeks Poort, which was already being used as an access road to and from the north, even though it took up to 6 days of hard travel to struggle through the rugged poort. During 1858, the authorities finally decided to build a proper road through the poort. The initial work was done by convict labour without an engineer being present, but progress was very slow, and in 1860, Adam de Smet, who was the brother-in-law of the renowned pass builder Thomas Bain, took over the project. De Smet was a formidable pass builder himself, having been responsible for at least 3 of the 7 passes on the well-known 7 passes route between George and Knysna. It's common knowledge that Bain and de Smet had bitter arguments about the routing of one of the 7 passes, which resulted in them spending the rest of their lives not speaking to one another. When this road opened, it was also a toll road, and the ruins of the old toll house can still be seen near the northern entrance of the poort. A typical toll fee in the late 1800s was levied at 1 penny per wheel. Even that long ago, the public were moaning about how expensive the toll roads were. Afrikaans author and poet C. Louis Leipold called this poort one of the 7 wonders of the old Cape Colony. The poort was completed and opened for wagon traffic in 1862. The poort is just under 18 kilometers in length, faithfully following the course of the Huisrivier through the mountains. Here, as in Meyringspoort, the road builders were faced with a refusal by the road board to allocate sufficient funds for a reasonable standard of road. The old farmer road, which was all that could be built along the valley bottom, came under water at the frequent river crossings, often blocking traffic when the water level in the Infant River rose too high. Severe flooding in 1875 resulted in both poorts being closed for a considerable time. The average gradient is actually a very easy 1 in 35, and there's no point with a gradient worse than 1 in 20. This makes it an attractive option for mountain bikers, which is evident in the many endurance cycling events taking place in the area, not least of which is the well-known Seweweeks Poort Mountain Bike Challenge. Expect to see cyclists on the winding road on any day of the week. The nearest town to the poort is Ladysmith, which started as a permanent place of worship in 1885, and a portion of the farm Elandsvallei was bought for £1,000 from a Mr. Kloppers. In 1852, this was laid out by William Hopley into 128 Irvin and named in honour of Lady Joanna Smith, wife of the Governor Sir Harry Smith. The spelling was Ladysmith with an I to differentiate it from Ladysmith in KZN. The pass ends near the old Amelinstein mission station on the R62 between Ladysmith and Calitzdorp.